is high class.
Okay.
Yeah, and very inexpensive.
We did. No, we didn't hire them. The community.
Okay. All right.
So where's
Lost.
Mr.?
Oh, there.
Okay.
He's
There we
where
go.
he is. He's in his little land.
Okay.
I have been reading 1451.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's
I'm gonna go over here and make some trouble.
hard to read.
Well, I'll say some things about that.
Okay.
You got to be careful with the Colombian exchange literature. Very careful.
Okay.
'Cause there's a lot of.
I usually sit on the back. I'm gonna see how well I hear it.
I'm just glad
But
you're here.
I think I'm
You
connected.
know what? Somebody messed up.
Okay. What? Okay, I believe it's time. I put in this announcements. Can you read them? No. Okay, well, it's name tags for instructors, okay. Turn your cell phones off. Wear your name tags at all events, okay? Check the roster and check your name in and clean up after you leave, all right? There are details. We have the Alabama Brown Bag Lecture Series. That would be January 29th from 11:45 to 2. We have the 30th anniversary Writer Series, okay? That would be February the 7th, 5:15 at the cafe. Then we have a Tiger Giving Day, February 19th, sorry. And a day trip to Montgomery, that would be March 13th. And you meet at Sunny Slope, goes from 8 to 5 p.m., all right? Are you hearing back there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Here it goes. This is welcome, of course. This is the second time we teach this. And notice that there are some amici curiae. So it isn't just I relied heavily on my advisors, and I put a few here, but there's plenty that went beyond me, and I used them, and they used me, okay? Again, welcome. The first thing is, what is this about? And if you go in the web, you find tons and tons of material dealing with the Colombian exchange. And right away you have a problem of definition. What is it that you mean by Colombian exchange? Well, I say just about all of what we do today in the world, and I stand by it, on trade, cultural exchanges, ideology, and beliefs, and plain old living has to do with the Colombian exchange. The world simply did not exist before the Colombian exchange. Or at least you didn't want to live in that world. I know I didn't. The discovery, two points. The discovery and subsequent successful settlement of the American continent by Europeans. Notice I said discovery and settlement, okay? Why do I say that? Well, where do you want to start? that people like to go around. Yeah, let's take the Phoenicians. You can go even before then. And they were great traders. And of course, they concentrated this kind of boat that they use mostly all through the coastal Mediterranean area. And they were great. They got down, we know they went past the Pillars of Hercules, that's Gibraltar. They went into the Atlantic and went all the way down to the Canary Islands, the Hesperides, that is the Fortunate Islands. Then got back, but never went back to it, okay? So, and then there are the Welsh and so on. And they had this kind of thing I could call a coracle that they used mostly to cross rivers and short distances and so on. But they were pretty brave people. Some of them actually attempted ocean-going coracles and got back to tell some stories. Whether the stories were accurate or not, you know, there's many centuries, so they get diluted, added, modified, but this did happen, okay? Whether they got to America or not, we really don't know, okay? They had the legend of Saint Brendan, in Spanish, San Borondon. What it says that they had got into a land that was this and that and that and that. Have no way of telling whether it was myth or what. And then our beloved Vikings. These guys went all over the place. But this is a warning. I'll give you a warning here. There is a very heavy inaccuracy in this picture. You think of the Viking ship. They had no sail. They never used sail. They didn't have any use for it because most of their trading was through rivers and very inland areas. Only in the very last, they went across into Greenland and then down to Vinland, that is. But this was not characteristic of them. Most of the sailing was inland, all right? And they were very good at it, okay? Somebody put this together. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's supposed to be fierce, you know, very fierce and so on. The discovery and settlement, and that is the problem here. They did settle for a while in Vinland, and they settled for a while, longer while, in Greenland. And then they went back or died, okay? There were people that contested them the moment they did a settlement. They call them the Skrælings. And it wasn't weather because the Skrælings were living in Greenland very nicely with all the snow and ice. That didn't bother them, but it did bother these guys, so they were beat out. Okay. They went all over. I'll repeat. You see, those are dates, and they got here around the year 1000. But most of it, you see, like I said, it was either coastal or rivers that they would get to a place, they would start trading, and sometimes they would raid the place, you know, sometimes not. The word Viking is derived for that. Viking is what, okay, for this type of activity. And then there is this, okay? If you like fiction, read this book. It's the most dreadful book that I read it and laughed my way out. I mean, this guy, I say no more. It's a joke. It's just a joke. But that does not detract to the fact, as I said, and this is a very minor portion of what is available. These are books, 1491, before Columbus, after Columbus. This is very good by Felipe Fernandez Armestos, professor in Oxford. Then there are courses, and then encounters unforeseen. There's a lot of literature, and because we do have, for the most part, good documentation. You're not dealing here with the Sumerians or something like that. We have hard documentary evidence for a lot of what is said. I like this book. It's short, nice, not too long, and summarizes exactly what this whole Columbian exchange is about. Antecedents and contrast between the old world and the new world. Conquest and pestilence, they went together. Okay. There was no Louis Pasteur at that time. Remember that, okay? Didn't even know about microbes or anything, but the microbes knew about us. So there was syphilis and its new world origin. All the diseases of man and animal, this played a part, okay? We still don't know where syphilis came from, by the way, but I'm not going to get into that, okay? Eurasian plants and animals in the New World, and New World plants and animals in Eurasia. All of this. So it's getting big, really big. And you see, I go back to the world started, as we know it started with this thing, okay? Columbian exchange still going on very much. I've gotten used to the word globalization. I'll say no more, okay? You have some handouts out there. In one of them, I outline by section the different subjects that we will be covering or trying to cover, okay? So we go to section 1. It's an introduction with a subject that is kind of sad, but it's called slavery,